What if I told you that one of the best ways to get someone to like you is to ask them for a favor? I know, it sounds totally backward, but it's a real psychological quirk. And today, we're going to dive into what's called the Benjamin Franklin effect. Yeah, it seems to defy all logic, doesn't it? You'd think we do favors for people we already like. But what if the simple act of helping someone is what actually makes us like them in the first place? That's the puzzle we're going to piece together.
So, to really get this, we've got to go back in time, way back to the 18th century. The whole idea gets its name from a fantastic story about one of America's founding fathers.
Okay, so you have Benjamin Franklin, and there's this other guy in the legislature who just does not like him at all. Now, Franklin, being the brilliant guy he was, knew a head-on confrontation wasn't the answer. He decided to try something, well, a lot more clever.
This move was just pure genius. See, by asking for the book, Franklin was kind of flattering the guy, saying, hey, I know you have this amazing library. But it was also a direct ask. The rival, probably a little confused by this, said yes. A week later, Franklin returns the book with a really nice thank you note, and that's when things got interesting.
And just like that, everything changed. The hostility was gone. Poof! And they actually became good friends for years to come. So what in the world was going on there? It wasn't magic. It was some seriously powerful psychology.
All right, so what was really happening inside that rival's head? The science behind this wouldn't get a name until way later, in the 1950s, thanks to a psychologist named Leon Festinger. He called this internal tug-of-war cognitive dissonance.
Think of it this way. Our brains crave harmony. We need our actions and our beliefs to line up. When they don't, it creates this mental static, this uncomfortable feeling that our brain desperately wants to fix.
And that's the core of the problem right there. The rival's brain was basically short-circuiting. On one hand, you have, I can't stand that Franklin guy, and on the other hand, but I just did him a really nice favor. Those two thoughts don't compute. They clash. And to make the mental noise stop, something has to change.
So, how does the brain solve this puzzle? Well, it usually takes the path of least resistance. It performs a little mental trick called self-justification. Basically, it finds the easiest part of that conflict to change so everything makes sense again.
And here's the really wild part. The action, lending the book, is in the past. It's done. You can't change it. But your attitude, your opinion of someone, well, that's just a feeling. It's much easier to edit. So the brain does a quick rewrite and concludes, you know what, I wouldn't do a favor for someone I dislike. I must actually like Ben Franklin. Problem solved. Now, this isn't just a cool story about a founding father. It's been proven in the lab. In one of the most famous experiments in psychology, researchers had people do a mind-numbingly boring task for a full hour. I mean, truly awful. Then they asked them to do a favor, lie to the next person, and tell them the task was actually fun. And the results are just fascinating. The people who got paid $20, a lot of money back then, had an easy excuse. Yeah, I lied, but who wouldn't for $20? No mental conflict. But the people who were paid just $1, their brains had a problem. $1 wasn't enough to justify lying. So to get rid of that dissonance, they convinced themselves that, you know what, the task actually wasn't so bad after all. They changed their own memory of it.
Okay, so we know we change our beliefs to match our actions, but does it work specifically for liking people? Well, a decade later, another study nailed it down. People were asked to do a personal favor for a researcher, and guess what? They ended up liking him way more than the people who weren't asked. It confirmed it. Doing something nice for someone can literally make you like them more.
And this whole idea goes even bigger than just doing favors. It also changes how we feel about things we had to work or even suffer for. This is something called effort justification. So check out this other classic study. To get into a discussion group, some women had to go through a really difficult and embarrassing initiation. Others had a super easy one. The twist? The discussion group itself was designed to be incredibly boring. And the result? The women who went through the severe initiation rated the boring group as way more interesting. They had to. Their brains had to justify the embarrassing effort they'd put in. And of course, this all works in reverse too. It's the classic sour grapes effect from the old fable. If you try really hard for something and fail to get it, you protect your ego by telling yourself it wasn't that great anyway. The fox can't reach the grapes, so he says, they were probably sour. It's cognitive dissonance at work again. All right, so this is way more than just a fun psychological fact. This principle is used all the time in the real world, in ways you might not even notice, from how we make friends to how giant companies sell us stuff.
I mean, think about the Lay's Do Us a Flavor campaign. It was absolutely brilliant. They weren't just getting new ideas for chips. By asking millions of us to do them a favor, to put in a little bit of creative effort, they were making us feel more invested in the brand. And did it work? Oh yeah, a 12% increase in overall sales. That is huge. It's the Benjamin Franklin effect on a massive commercial scale. We put in the effort, so we unconsciously decided we must really like Lay's chips.
So let's bring this all home. Why is this important for you to know? Well, because understanding this little quirk of our minds can literally change the way you navigate your entire social world.
Look, this is a seriously powerful psychological tool. You can use it for good, to build bridges with people, to make your team stronger, but it's also really important to be aware of how it can be used to manipulate you, to make you like a product, a politician, or an idea just because you put some tiny bit of effort into it. And that kind of leaves you with a pretty big question to think about, doesn't it? Our brains are constantly working behind the scenes, making sure our actions and beliefs all add up. Knowing that what you do today might be secretly writing the script for what you believe tomorrow, well, that's a pretty powerful idea.